Five mistakes you want to avoid as a financial planner in 2026, running your own business. See, over the last 5 years, I've seen these mistakes repeated month after month, year after year. It's what stops so many financial planners from building the business that they want, what gives them more impact, have money, have the lifestyle that they've always wanted, and really, leave the 9 to 5 job. But so many of them just make these common mistakes that really have them quitting the industry and going back working for someone else, or worse still, leaving the industry. So I've made a couple of notes here. I want to share this with you and give you some insights into how to identify these mistakes and really what you need to do to actually help solve some of these mistakes. And it's so easy to help solve them. So let's start off with mistake number one. Now, this is why most financial planners lack confidence, have self doubt, and have imposter syndrome. And this is what stops them from really serving more and more people. I like to call this the drag queen effect. And what I mean by this is so many drag queens will do this. They'll put on their outfit, they'll put on their wigs, their makeup, their outfits, they'll get up on stage, they'll sing, they dance, they'll tell jokes, and then they get off stage and be back in jeans and a white t-shirt. Now, this is where most financial planners fall short. They try to be someone they're not. And by being like that and they're watching everyone else, out there creating content, they lose who they are. So for me, the biggest advice that I want you to take is to really lean into who you are, lean into your strengths. Because when you lean into your strengths, that's going to give you the confidence to get yourself out there. You want to focus on helping the right people who you know you can help confidently get an outcome or get the result that they've want. So that's the first mistake, is not leaning into who you are. So advice there, believe in yourself, lean into your strengths, and get yourself out there. Mistake number two, and this is something that you actually have more control of than you actually think. And the problem is that most financial planners will start marketing, they'll do content, they'll get really busy at one stage, or they feel they can't create content because they're waiting for the perfect time, the perfect video, the perfect script, whatever they're doing, the perfect lighting or the perfect mic or something like that. They're using all these different excuses from actually getting themselves out there on a consistent basis. And that's what mistake number two is. It's inconsistency with your marketing. See, a lot of financial planners will, they'll appear, I know at the start of the year, more than ever, they'll do, 3, 4 videos at a time, and then it'll, kind of dwindle off. They'll do one video a week and then once every 2 weeks, and all of a sudden they've forgotten. So my rule of thumb, and what I always encourage my clients to do, is to create 4 pieces of content every week. Now, it's not about showing up every day. I know most marketing gurus out there say you got to do not just once a day, you got to do 3, 4 times a day. That's way too much. Now, quantity is great, but let me tell you, quality of content that gets people engaged and having conversations with you is much more important. So you want to create some consistency around it. So for me, the cadence that I like to work with 4 times a week, 4 pieces of content. One is a credibility post, which is more about educating people that helps you build authority. The second type of post is what I call a character post, giving people an insight into who I am. For example, if I'm hiking or there's something I'm doing, I'm having coffee, I'm here living in Barcelona, so I'll take pictures of me walking on the streets, for example. The next piece of content is case study content. So talking about maybe a result that I helped the client get, or even talking about a conversation I had with a prospect that happened that I thought, hey, this is really cool information that I think everyone should be aware of. And the last bit of content is contextual content, which is giving people more a philosophy, sharing some of values, what I believe in the world and what I believe is going to work. And so, yes, you can combine some of these together, but they're the 4 pieces of content you want to be sharing on a regular basis. Now, you don't always have to do video. You can do one video, and the rest of it could just be like a post or like a text post or just a graphic or something like that. That's totally okay as well. So the mistake, like I said, is what you need to do is be more consistent, because if you're not more consistent, then people will forget about you. But being way too much, people will also ignore you. So you want to have that right balance. And I think 4 times a week builds authority, and that builds consistency enough for people to always remember you're still around. All right, so let's move on to mistake number three. And this mistake is what makes most financial planners go broke or even leave the industry. And I call it the Jennifer Lopez effect, or J-Lo, or Jenny from the block, or I was going to say Jenny around the block. Um, this is the Jennifer Lopez effect. Now, what I mean by this is, if you look at social media, every time you see Jennifer Lopez, she's with some new guy, some new husband. We can't even keep track of which husband it is this week. And so this is what most financial planners are doing. They are jumping from niche to niche to niche, trying to find the quick win, the goal for them, rather than really stick it out and really work on creating the right messages, getting the right type of people around them, creating their offer, and really building building authority within the niche. And so the mistake that you make is you keep switching. So if you just stick to one, and I always recommend at least 6 months work in a niche where you can really dig deep into it. Now, if you're not making progress, then you need to start really speaking to people within that niche. Don't just assume everything you know about the niche itself. Speak to people, understand what are their pains, what are their frustrations, what do they want, what are their aspirations, and then you can really build from there. So, mistake number 3 is more focused on, I was going to say Jennifer Lopez, but it's more about do not switch niches every time. All right. So let's get on to mistake number 4. And mistake number 4, it's more about getting attention and really blending in with everyone else. Now, you're probably doing this already where you're just trying to be like everyone else. And if you do that, you end up just not growing your business as quick. If you sound like everyone else and you're copying everyone else, this is a massive mistake. So stop copying everyone else and really focus on your offer. Most people are so scared to stand out and with an offer that actually attracts the right type of people or solve the right problem. And so your offer itself is so important to attract a lot of people. Here's the mistake most people make is that they focus and think that their offer is based around their process. I'm gonna bring someone in, we're gonna have 2 or 3 meetings the first 3 weeks. We then gonna meet, we'll put the plan together, we'll review the plan together, and we'll start implementing it. And everyone thinks that's the that's the process. That may be the process on how you work with a client. But your offer needs to be more centered around the problems you solve and how you're going to help your client get the result. And this, what I found over the last 5 years, working with financial planners, this is the missing link. The mistake is not having the right offer to the right people. And this is why you're shouting as loud as you can to a niche. But what ends up happening is you're not really getting the right message out there and you haven't got the right offer. So really dial in this offer by focusing on the problems and the solutions you can offer. Excuse the ambulance if you can hear it already. I'm in Barcelona, as I mentioned. So focus on really creating a signature system that helps you dial in that offer and really get yourself out there. Let me tell you something. The signature system actually attracts people. And when you have your unique way of helping them get the result, they not only going to put their hand up to want more information. Once they get the result, they're going to start referring you clients similar to themselves, right? And this makes life so much easier. So that was mistake number 4. Now let's move on to mistake number 5, and the one that you probably have. Well, really, it's not your fault that this is a mistake, but this is what everyone else out there is selling you. And when I say everyone else, these are marketing gurus out there, the agencies, the consultants, and even some financial planners that have decided to go into marketing and helping you build the business that you want. The problem is what they're selling is they're actually selling systems that is more about automation. So the mistake is most financial planners try to automate before they even trial anything out. They don't have any data to back up their automations. They just think, hey, yeah, I'm just going to create a landing page and a bunch of email sequences because I think I know my audience. And so they spend all this bit of money and time putting it all together and then wonder why things aren't happening. For me, and if you've been following my content for the last 5 years, all I care about for you is having conversations. When you start having conversations, those conversations leads to clients and those clients will lead to cash. So focus on conversations, not automation. So the mistake that everyone makes is going so quickly into creating automations. Please do not fall for that. While it's great for your business, I don't recommend automations until you're doing over 15K a month on a regular basis. When you start doing that, then you can start looking at, hey, I've got so many leads coming in. I need to automate some parts of my marketing process. So don't fall for automations, even though it may save you a ton of time and create content. Even using AI to, create content, really lean into who you are again and really focus on creating your own little niche that people will be attracted to. That's the key part of it. So there you go, guys. I've just shared with you the 5 mistakes, and I'll just go through them again. The first mistake is not being who you are. The second mistake is really trying to automate things way too quickly. Third mistake is jumping from niche to niche. Fourth mistake is more around your offer and really not dialing in that offer. And the fifth one is really about, consistency and really, you really want to dial in that consistency showing up because again, that builds authority and people that show up on a regular basis has more credibility than anyone else. And let me be honest here, a lot of financial planners just aren't regular enough. So if you just become consistent and sharing good content where people get to know you and positions you as an authority, you will start getting more people to raise their hand wanting your services. So I hope you found that super helpful, guys. So just so you know, if you need some help with this, let me know. But the next video I've just created is going to show you how financial planners can build confidence and authority without pretending to be someone else. Hopefully you found it super helpful. Give it a like here, guys. I'll pass it on to someone who you'll know will enjoy this video and speak to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.